Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new episode of the podcast. We are back with another night of news and we are back with another night of just breaking the fourth wall in regards to what the fuck is going on in this presidency. Oh my god, I didn't mute myself here. I heard myself for a second. I was like, where is that coming from? It's my voice. Why am I hearing my voice speaking while I'm speaking? But yeah, we are about to dive into some topics today. I wanted to dive in to California Governor Gavin Newsom because he is a hot topic and there's some things I want to touch in regards to, yes, touch. There are some things I want to touch base on about Gavin Newsom because I feel like he is a solid candidate strategically for the next presidential election as a Democratic nominee. So we're going to touch on that today, as well as I wanted to give a short little PSA to the people who are on my social medias. I just want to say, you can comment absolutely anything about me, and it's not going to bother me. You can try and attempt to bully me unsuccessfully, but it won't hurt me. Want to know why? Because I'm sitting here, me, and you can commenting about my appearance, my talk, my this, my that, my politics, but baby, it's not going to hurt me because I'm not apologizing for what? I know I'm always right. I'm on the right side of history. I'm on the right side of human rights. I'm on the right side of respecting human beings. So you can sit in my comments, you can sit on my timelines, and you can do and say whatever you want. But just know the bullying doesn't affect me, and my duty to sit here and report the actual news that is going on that is ruining the United States, like that rotten molded orange, that wig man. So don't, you can continue, but just know it doesn't affect me because I know I'm gorgeous. I know my spirit shines bright, and I know my aura intimidates a lot of people. So the fact that you get to sit here on my comments and just be triggered by me, by looking at me and seeing my face and hearing my voice, it gives me that much more power over you. And you're putting me on a pedestal versus trying to tear me down from one. See how that kind of counteracts what you're doing here? But yeah, go ahead and attempt to bully me because I know I can be the biggest bully back and actually bully you if I choose to. Not that I'm, yeah, bully the bullies. I'm with it. So just know your bullying does not affect me. It empowers me to keep going with what I'm doing in my life because A, I'm educated, I'm gorgeous, and I have a great personality. So hi to my haters out there. Love you. Continue what you're doing because you're just putting me on a higher pedestal. But that was a little PSA I wanted to get out there because there's a lot on my social media and I'm just like, you guys out in Kansas City, bumblefuck Hills Have Eyes Nowhere, sitting with hot dogs and beer in your hand, think you're going to bully me? No, 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 not at all. So let's get into today's topic. So what did I want to talk about? I really wanted to dive in to Gavin Newsom. I really wanted to dive into him because I feel we are at a point right now as a decision, as a country, as the Democratic Party, that we need to rally behind someone. Not just someone, but like MAGA and the maggots rally around Trump as a caricature, we need to rally around a caricature of our own. And I feel like that caricature is Gavin Newsom. And we have lost 2 elections. And I'm not saying it's a woman's fault. I'm saying it's our country's fault for not being ready to put a woman in that position. We have lost 2 elections to Donald Trump because we have had women run against him. Not that they are unqualified women to run this country, but because men are ignorant and insecure enough to not think a woman should run this country better than they can. So they don't want to give a woman the opportunity to run this country. So we have to think strategically here. If we are 0-2 against Donald Trump winning with women as our primary candidate of the Democratic Party, we can't run into this 2028 election term with a woman. And I'm saying that through the clearest lens of everything that has happened thus far in the last decade. Yes, I'm saying it decade because it's been 10 years since Donald Trump literally ran down that escalator with his wig and said he was running for president, make America great again, but instead he has filled the swamp, especially in his second term. So speaking strategically, we cannot have a woman run, we cannot have a minority run, and we cannot have someone who represents a demographic of people that isn't what America is represented as. And that is why Gavin Newsom is the perfect caricature of what we need to face as the Democratic Party. Yes, support minorities. Yes, have minorities in your administration, but it has been proven time and time again that our country is not ready for a minority to run this country successfully. So we have to take that into account and not just say, hey, we believe a woman can do it, because the whole country doesn't believe a woman can do it. Even some of the Democrats don't believe a woman or a minority can run this country, and it shows in their support of how they show up for the Democratic Party. So what I'm clearly saying is that Gavin Newsom is the all-American white boy. He is our ticket to taking back this country from the maggots. He is our meal ticket to restoring Roe v. Wade. He is our meal ticket to restoring LGBTQ rights. So before I completely say that, I want to take a dive into his policies. I want to take a dive into him, who he is as a person. But from the front page of the book cover, Gavin Newsom is the all-American white man that we need to, ironically, save this country. We need a white man to save us. And it's the fucking truth. And I don't hate to say it. It's just the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts. Okay? As much as we know Kamala could do it, as much as we know Hillary Clinton could have been a successful president, as much as we know that any of the Democratic nominees that will run in this election could be potentially a great and successful president, we need someone who is the poster and what is it? The baby face? The poster face? Is that what I'm trying to say? The poster face of America. And unfortunately, the poster boy of America is a white man with kids and a wife. That is the American dream. And Gavin Newsom has successfully attained that American dream. So we need to utilize him to get our rights back. He is the one we need to put in the Democratic nominee against Donald Trump, or whatever Republican Trump is going to put in his place to continue his regime in the 2028 election cycle. Why I feel this way is because Newsom has shown some backbone that a lot of Democrats have not shown going up against Trump. Jasmine Crockett, yeah, she's very boisterous, she's very out there, she's very strong-willed, but when you think of it from a strategic standpoint, it looks like And I'm not calling her this. I'm saying what it looks like from someone out in Missouri. It just looks like an angry black woman. But I can understand from where she's coming from because I am an angry black trans woman who's sitting here annoyed seeing that people's rights are getting stripped away, people's livelihoods are getting stripped away, people's jobs and economic success is getting revoked from them. Not only that, but deportations, just so many different layers on this whole thing. I thought that was my dog in here. I thought I heard my dog. Sorry. I kick him out during these because he can get a little bit attention whorish. But it's the truth. Where was I? I was saying that Jasmine Crockett, from someone who is in the middle of Missouri looking at Jasmine Crockett, she just looks like an angry black woman. From someone in the middle of Kentucky, Alexandria Cortez just kind of looks like a Spanish woman who doesn't know what she's talking about, even though I know what she's talking about. The racism in the middle of America is not going to allow them to see that these women are educated and eligible to serve in high positions in our government. Someone in the middle of Missouri, someone in the middle of Kentucky is not going to see that because they are not educated enough to understand that women can be in prominent positions and succeed and have thoughts, opinions, and policies to make sure that everyone is taken care of in the United States. This is why Gavin Newsom, is a meal ticket. Gavin Newsom is a meal ticket because he represents what middle America thinks America is. On the base level, a lot of people do not go to the polls and understand policies. And I think that's something that we need to understand when we're talking about presidential elections. A lot of people go on the base facts of what a president is running on. I mean, look at every time you talk to a maggot, they say, oh, I voted for Trump because I believe there's only two genders. I voted for Trump because of his economic policies. But they don't understand that his economic policies such as the tariffs, affect us in a worse way than it would that when it's plainly faced out to them in a pamphlet, basically, like, hey, economic policies in bold ledgers, but they don't read that underlying subtext that, hey, this is going to screw you over. So that's what you have to think about when we're coming into this election cycle in 2028. America is not smart. America is not educated. I shouldn't say America. Many states in America do not educate their public, and that is for a specific reason. That reason being that they don't want their constituents to vote for people who are actually educated. They keep their state constituents in fear of certain minority groups and certain economic policies that could affect them, but really could actually help them. So when you talk about Gavin Newsom, Newsom is the perfect example of what white America wants in the White House. And he could switch the vote in a lot of states when you remove that minority category from the presidential election or the Democratic Party nominee, especially if he's able to connect with them on a basis that he is a white man. Yes, I'm saying use your white card right now. Gavin Newsom, if you choose to run for the 2028 presidential election, use your white card for these middle America states because it will be a success. Strategically, this is a perfect opportunity to use your white card, okay? So let's go into a little bit more about Gavin Newsom because I did just want to see what his priorities are and see where he lies in a lot of his policies. And this is the first time I've visited his website, governor.california.gov. And this kind of just goes around what he's about. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Gavin Newsom here. So we know he's married. He has like 3 or 4 kids. Beautiful family. Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, former lieutenant governor of California, and former mayor of San Francisco. Newsom is widely recognized for his willingness to lead, repeatedly developing, advocating, and implementing innovative and groundbreaking solutions to some of our most challenging issues. Newsom's top priorities for his administration include tackling homelessness and building more housing, keeping California safe, creating opportunity for all, building a healthier California, and standing up for California values, from civil rights to immigration, environmental protection, access to quality schools at all levels, and justice. Governor Newsom is married to Jennifer Seibel Newsom. Is that a last name or a middle name? I'm guessing that's her original last name. Seibel Newsom. They have 4 children: Montana, Hunter, Brooklyn, and Dutch. Cute names. I love them. But yeah, no, Newsom is an all-around American family, and we could use that as our advantage as long as we vet him to understand that minority communities are important, minority values are important, minority communities and values contribute to the American economic growth and GDP. Minority communities also contribute to the culture of America, and that's one thing I don't understand. When I went to school, I was taught that America is a melting pot of cultures. In basically all of our history textbooks, I'm very grateful for the school that I went to. I'm very grateful for how I was raised by my grandmother. I'm very grateful for how I was educated in my school systems. And I'm very educated and grateful that I had choices in regards to where I wanted to go in my life. And with those 3 factors, it made me such a well-rounded individual. So it makes me question why certain districts and states don't have the same education that I had. I don't think it was a phenomenal, stellar education. I think it also comes back down to me and my willingness to learn about things. But every history class from literally kindergarten until senior year, I've learned that America is a melting pot of cultures, and you can't have America without the cultures that really flooded the lifestyle of what America is today. There's no way you can sit here and say America is not a cultural phenomenon when it's not based on ethnocentrism. I think we have core values that reflect from a Christian point of view, but you also have to understand that those values don't dictate everyone's worth, don't dictate everyone's life in a way where they profess their faith as Christian. I think our law and our religious beliefs should be separate. And I also feel that because of how I grew up and how I was educated, these things that I understand about the law and how religion works and how they need to be separate, and the reasoning as to why they need to be separate, and the reasoning as to why there's separation of church and state in our government and needs to continue being separated, because if intertwined, it creates a very big debacle in a way that could hurt, harm, and literally kill a lot of people. I'm grateful that I was able to pop. Okay, I think I'm still on here. I'm very grateful that I was able to get the education to understand the values of what American society is. And American society is to respect everyone, love everyone, treat everyone equally, and make sure everyone has a safe space and home to live in within the United States. So that's what I don't get about school systems not providing that standard base for everyone to just be like, hey, this is America. America is the home of everyone's culture, not just one person's culture. So while we dive into Gavin Newsom here, let's take a look at his priorities. So do we want to go to progress? So one thing I am very strong about is combating gun violence. So let's go here. So under his .gov page, let's talk about what he has done for combating gun violence. So, California's strong gun laws. Our state is ranked number 1 in gun safety, with gun death rate 40% lower than the national average. And Governor Newsom is doing even more to get weapons of war off California streets. There's my reading comprehension. I'm talking about having a great education, and I just said Carolina instead of California. Oh, I'm just kidding. I am smart, I promise. I do well when I'm studying in my legal studies degree. So that's a fun fact here, because a lot of states attack California for their crime rates, yet their crime rate in regards to gun deaths is 40% lower than the national average. And I think it's just a fear of people understanding that democratic policies can actually be successful. I was going to get into why Republicans just don't want success in the United States for anyone but themselves, but the top 1%. But, I'm going to digress on that. So, California and Governor Newsom strengthened and expanded red flag laws and ghost gun regulations and prohibited the sale of semi-automatic rifles to people under 21. I think that is phenomenal. I don't think anyone under 21, honestly, anyone in the United States, needs a semi-automatic rifle. And by putting those regulations on semi-automatic rifles to people under 21, I feel like that will not stop mass school shootings, obviously, but it will hinder the devastation from a school shooting if one were to happen. So that is definitely a positive. Newsom invested in local government efforts to seize weapons from people who are prohibited from having them. I would need a little more information in regards to that and what their qualifications on prohibited weapon possession is. So that would need a little bit more research. So let's do what prohibits having guns. Oh, why does my laptop want to be slow today? Wants to be slow. So, if we're diving into what prohibits Californians from having guns, according to state and federal laws, criminal convictions such as felonies and certain misdemeanors, and juvenile convictions. Some offenses committed as a juvenile can also restrict gun ownership until the age of 30. Court orders, such as restraining orders or protective orders, or red flag laws, which we just discussed, also known as gun violence restraining order, allows family members, law enforcement, and others to petition a court to temporarily remove someone's firearms if they are deemed dangerous. Mental health. Individuals who have been involuntarily committed to a mental health facility. That's a strong word because you have to think of involuntary. Found mentally incompetent to stand trial and found not guilty by reason of insanity are prohibited from owning or possessing guns. I think mental health is such a big opportunity for our whole country to understand how mental health can affect someone and the effects that it has on someone in regards to owning and possessing a weapon, a dangerous weapon like a gun. When we talk about mental health, especially those involuntary committed. I just don't feel that people who have mental health issues that are not taking the right steps to address them should not have weapons of destruction in their hands or in their home. Yes, I do believe in the Second Amendment. I do believe people do have rights to have guns to protect themselves, but sometimes the right to protect yourself does not mean that you have the right to ignore your mental health and affect and potentially hurt other people because you're not taking your mental health serious. So when it comes to the Second Amendment, I think there are guidelines and restrictions that states, and actually, not even states, I think it should go federally, that the federal government should implement, saying, hey, we're here to protect people. You have a right to own a gun, but you have a right to own it responsibly. So other factors are substance abuse, age restrictions, and dishonorably discharged from the military, people who have renounced U.S. citizenship, and certain non-citizens such as undocumented immigrants or those on non-immigrant visas and less exempt. Oh, I thought we were just so pro-immigrant in California, right? No, they actually have laws that are here protecting Californians and Americans from undocumented immigrants who decide to have guns in their possession. So it's not such a blanket statement. It seems like he, as governor, is really taking the initiative to say, hey, this is what we can do in California, so that way we can protect Americans. So, gun laws, from what I'm seeing on his website and how the laws work in California in regards to red flag laws and things of that nature, I think that's a big win. I think he can run on that. I think he can run on his statistic that's on even his website and probably so many other websites, that gun crime and gun death rates are 40% lower than the national average in other states. So that is a big positive for me in regards to Governor Newsom for becoming the Democratic nominee. And I think when you're strategically running for president, which you should do, Governor Newsom, I think you need to paint it as, I support your right to own a gun, but I support your right to own it responsibly. I support your right to not hurt people intentionally because you're not taking care of yourself. I support your right to own a gun. I don't support your right to hurt other people or put other people in danger and harm. I think that puts across a point saying, I believe in the Constitution, but I believe the Constitution has restrictions when it comes to the safety of our very current day and age and what is available to people at certain stages, such as semi-automatic rifles. No one under 21 should own a semi-automatic rifle. And I think there is a fine threshold that he can really touch middle America and, I don't want to say far right, but right-leaning voters in that sense, saying, I support your right to own guns. You're not mentally unstable, right? So why do you have an issue with us putting restrictions on people who are mentally unstable? You are not. So you can own a gun. You have the right to own your gun. So I think that would be a big factor for him to run on. I'm having indigestion because I'm getting old and I don't like it. So going through his website, I'm not going to go through all of this, obviously. Give me 1 second. So that's one thing I'm definitely sold on with Governor Newsom. When we talk about education, that is another thing. I think everyone needs proper education. Everyone needs truthful education. History that is able to be taught in our school systems in a way that our kids can understand it. If they don't understand it, they can have extra help, and if they need extra help, it is available to them because we are funding our schools with our tax dollars through a way that allows teachers to actually do their job and teach. So when it comes to his website, he kind of outlines what his plan is and what his progress is coming from the K through 12 education. And instead of dismantling our Department of Education like WIG is doing, Newsom is saying we want to enhance it in a way that puts parents first and gives the choices about how to care for their child's education. So, Governor, let's see some of the progress he's made in California. Added a whole new grade to public school for 4-year-olds. I mean, I don't think 4-year-olds need to go to school, but if you want to be bougie about it, go ahead. I think daycare is good enough. But that's another thing. We need to work on the ability to have parents have daycare at a low and affordable cost. Not free, but low and affordable cost. That is something we need to work on at this country. If we can make it free, perfect. But nothing in this country is free. So that's why I say low and affordable cost for daycare for working adults that have a job that they need to go to provide for their child. He expanded after-school and summer education programs. Cool. Helped schools in California transition to the community school model with wraparound mental health, social, and family services. I think that is very important. It is very important for a child to have mental health services, social services, and family services that interact with their families to have a strong base not only at home, but a strong trusting base within the school itself, with teachers, with guidance counselors. I was very lucky to have guidance counselors, especially during like my last few years of school where I was kind of tapping out a little bit. I was very lucky to have guidance counselors and teachers that are like, hey, stay on track, you're almost done. And teachers and guidance counselors who actually cared about my success, whether they wanted me just out of the school or wanted me to actually succeed. I may have put up a front that I hated it, but in the long run, looking back, having those people keep me on track was the best way to get me where I am today and studying to be a lawyer. And then in regards to like the mental health aspect of it, I think kids have such a wide range of potential issues when it comes to mental health, especially with our internet and how easy it is to access social media and how easy it is to feel inadequate around others, let alone others on social media posting their lives. Kids are not formulated to understand that social media and online presence is not reality, and it's good to have the mental health aspect of it in our school systems, so that way we can address the reality of the situation versus the facade that people put up online, I should say. And in regards to like mental health and things like that, it's not just tackling the facade of life. It's tackling the truth, the raw truths of life. When a kid has an opportunity to get to a mental health professional within a school that is not designated outside of a school where they need to make appointments and drive there and get there, a mental health professional inside of a school is beneficial because it's like, hey, I can make an appointment with my mental health physician inside of my school, and I don't need to make accommodations to get there. I think it's very important for mental health professionals to be in every school because it allows a kid an opportunity to deal with their raw emotions, whether they're going through homelessness, because kids go through homelessness and that does affect them, whether they're going through food deprivation, that affects kids in school, whether they're going through LGBTQ plus questioning issues. There's just a plethora of things that can be discussed with mental health professionals inside of a school. And with the mental health professionals, there could be a network on how to help kids in schools. So I'm very big on mental health professionals, social services, and family services being available within a school rather than outside help where accommodations need to be set up. So he also established reading difficulty screenings, including dyslexia, for all K through 2 students, boosted early literacy supports, invested billions for teacher preparations, set up Cali Kids Career Savings Account with up to $1,500 for every vulnerable student. Why couldn't I say that word? Strengthen pathways to career opportunities and address longstanding equity gaps. These are more issues that I would have to dive deep into because this is just stating the progress he made and not how he made it with his position as governor. So, yeah. I wonder how... It says he increased government spending or funding for schools, right? That's what it just said. Increase special education funding. Let's see. So for the fiscal year of 2024 and 2025, statewide special education funding, including the SELPA base rate and other categorical programs, received a 1.7% cost of living adjustment as part of the enacted 2024-2025 California state budget. Statewide special education budget, the governor proposed 2.43% COLA for LCFF and specified categorical programs, including special education. Let's see. So altogether, it looks like he had a higher adjustment proposed and finalized in May to a 2.30% final funded to COLA, which would be a special education program. Yeah, I mean, it's an increase, so he did it. Yeah, I'm very, very, very big on special education too, because I feel like special education and kids with special needs need obviously extra care and extra attention. So when it comes to having those teachers and assistants inside of a school, I think it is beneficial. And I remember being in school, we had special ed kids, and I feel like they all deserved to have that special attention to where they're able to understand the dynamics of what being in public and in a social environment is, and having that aid there to help them navigate that. You could see how it benefited them, not only from a social standpoint but from an educational standpoint. They were able to get the education they needed in a way that was specialized to them without having the teacher just derail their class to pay attention to the one special student. So yeah, overall the policies and progress that I've seen he's made on his website with my little research, I feel are very, very progressive. Not even progressive, just neutral, in a sense of these are things that need to be done not only in California but throughout the entire United States to give us a fighting chance and give our youth a fighting chance of being successful. Giving them an education that prepares them for what it's really like to be in the future of the United States is something that is very important to me, because without my education, I don't know where I would be. Without my grandmother pushing me, without my family kind of just saying, here, this is a route for you to succeed, without my teachers that were very supportive of me, I don't know where I would be currently right now. And it education doesn't just put knowledge into your brain, it also provides you with a history and a map of how to succeed. It's not just about 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's not just about learning about how Nazi Germany did this so we can never have it happen again. It's about actually giving you tools to map out your life in a way that is successful, where you can succeed and be happy and hopefully live a what am I saying? The word just flipped out of my head. Live a normal, decent life. That's what education does. It's not just about 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's about providing you with life skills that helps you succeed in life and socialize with all different types of groups of people to understand that America is not ethnocentric. It is a melting pot culture. All right. Yeah, so I wanted to dive into Gavin Newsom. I'm kind of glad I did that dive into Gavin Newsom because I'm very interested in how the 2028 presidential election is going to turn out. I think he is a great front runner and a great poster child for the Democratic Party to try and take back the United States from where we know it needs to be. Yes, use that white card, Gavin Newsom. Yes, use that white family card, Gavin Newsom. Yes, use that all-American boy card, Gavin Newsom, and help us take back this country, because what is happening right now, I don't need to mention it again, but it's corrupt, it's disgusting, it is despicable, it's dangerous for minority groups of people, it's dangerous for people who, it's dangerous for poor people. I mean, the gap between our top 1% in this country and the rest of us is growing so much to where there is not going to be a middle class, and we need to fight. And everyone who is watching this, we need to get behind Gavin Newsom. Democrats who are watching this, stop what you're doing and understand we need to get behind Gavin Newsom. He is our ticket out of this hellhole that wig is putting us in. He is the meal ticket. Put your egos aside. Put your want to be in the spotlight aside. We need to get our priorities straight. And that priority is utilizing Gavin Newsom's all-American card to get back the country that we were progressing to. And he is that meal ticket. All right, what are we doing now? We're going into, I wanted to go into this because this is actually very scary, what's going on in our government right now. So I read an article. One second. I'm pulling it up here. So I read an article that was very scary. And it's the Trump administration going after healthcare. Again, what's new? But this time it's against youth healthcare. It's against youth who are trans. And from now on, what I'm going to say for youth healthcare or healthcare in general regarding the LGBTQ community, I'm just going to call it rainbow care, because I don't want it to get flagged on any of my platforms, because every time you talk about anything LGBTQ plus related, it gets flagged now, and it's just, it ruins the traffic to your channel or your social media, where you're trying to put out that these issues are important, and the government is trying to stop healthcare from being given to human beings. They did it with Roe v. Wade, and they're continuing to try and gut healthcare from senior citizens to LGBTQ plus people. It's just atrocious what's going on here. So, when we talk about healthcare now regarding rainbow care, that is what I'm going to call it. So let's get into this. The Trump administration has ramped up its attacks on gender-affirming care as young people are identifying as transgender at a higher rate than their older counterparts. T Americans have been made a target of President Whig's second presidency since his first day in office, when he issued an executive order declaring the United States only recognizes two sexes, male and female. Since returning to the White House, the president has made more than 300 attacks against the LGBTQ plus people. Isn't that insane? Isn't that literally targeting a group of people? 300 attacks against a group of people? That's giving discrimination. Like, that's literal discrimination. And we're sitting here, and thank God we have advocacy groups like GLAAD, like fighting back against the policies that Trump is trying to implement. But what I'm going to talk about here is actually very scary, and they always start with the kids. That is what I'm going to say. The Republicans always start with, we're caring about kids, but instead, the kids is just a doorway into forcing more action against adults and controlling what adults do with their own bodies and lives. Initially, it's about kids, but it's never about kids. It's about controlling everyone. So, the Trump administration's attacks against gender-affirming care in particular has ramped up this week amid a new analysis showing that 2.8 million Americans aged 13 or older identify as transgender. I feel like that's a lot of Americans, but in the grand sense of things, it's kind of not. Of that group, more than 3/4 are under 35 years old and 1/4 are between 13 and 17, suggesting more young people are likely to identify as transgender compared to their older counterparts. And that scares the F out of our boomers. It just does. In a direct onslaught on trans youth, the Justice Department issued a subpoena to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia demanding records related to minors' gender-affirming care. This is what is scary. Our government is looking to get into your health history. Our government is looking to intrude into your personal health records. And it's starting with kids. So what happened, Republican Party, to allowing parents to choose what's best for their kids? Oh, right, there's certain criteria and parameters that you have to set for that, correct? So as long as parents can make their decisions under your guidelines, pick a lane. Choose a struggle. Choose what you want. Do you want parents to have full autonomy over their kids, or do you want to have full autonomy over kids' decisions? And right now it's really murky to the point where it's looking like you, the Republican Party, wants full autonomy over children. That's weird. It's weird. It's so weird. But yeah, so it's a direct onslaught on minors' gender-affirming care. So Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, subpoenaed and asked hospitals to produce documents that identify which patients were prescribed puberty blockers or hormone therapy, records related to diagnosis that form the basis for prescribing these treatments, and documents related to informed consent and parental authorization. That is insanity. Imagine our government. We're saying we want less government, but now the government is intruding on not adults, but kids, children's health records. That should scare you. You want, as a private citizen, you want to make sure that your health records that you are going through, that you have documented with a private physician, are yours and yours only. Why does our government have the right to subpoena these records and documents from children? from hospitals and medical buildings and professionals. Why does the government feel the need that they have the right to access this information? It's a complete violation of personal law. It's a complete violation of state laws, and it's a complete violation of personal privacy protections. And yet, the government, Pam Bondi, and the Department of Justice and this Trump administration is sitting here in your faces saying, we want what we want, and we are going to get what we want. No matter what it is, even if it's your child's health records, we want them, and we have the right to access them because we do what we want. This is scary, and I'm saying it again. It starts out with the children. Let's care about the children, but it's not about the children. It's about getting the foot in the door to control you as an adult. It's about getting the foot in the door to control you as a human being and making sure that you are running by the playbook of what this administration wants for you as an adult, not for what you want for yourself. This is who the maggots voted in office. You voted in disgusting, despicable human beings, evil human beings that want to not only control you, but control your kids and get access to their personal health records. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with the government subpoenaing and being able to get your children's health records? Because that's what you voted for. Ugh. So disgusting. So disgusting. It infuriates me. It infuriates me with the amount of audacity this administration has when it comes to discrimination, when it comes to targeting groups of people. I mean, you have the administration targeting LGBTQ youth with rainbow healthcare and restricting any sort of surgical procedures or medical procedures or medicine being given to help LGBTQ plus youth. You also have this administration attacking Hispanics through ICE and deportations. I mean, there's just there's specific pockets, and they're trying to dismantle certain minorities through certain ways, through specific ways. And with LGBTQ plus the community, I mean, they're trying to attack them through healthcare. Through Hispanics, they're trying to attack them through ICE. I mean, it's just very scary how discriminatory this administration is and how many people voted this man in. Because we know that man, wig. I'm not going to say it, but just look into Pennsylvania and Nevada. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, this is the end of this episode 8 of the podcast. Thank you for joining me, and go ahead, comment below on what your thoughts are on Gavin Newsom. Should we be putting our ball in Gavin Newsom's court and using him as our meal ticket and poster boy for the 2028 Democratic presidential election nominee? I think we should. And every Democrat needs to get behind it right now. We need to unite, reform, and put a strategic way in getting some of the right-leaning votes on our side. Because this is not... I know we said it last election that this is not an election we can play around with. But the 2028 election, we cannot play around with. Because it's either going to be a continuation of the Trump regime or finally a new day in America where we can actually live and breathe with our equality and our rights. So we need to get behind Gavin Newsom. We need to make sure Gavin Newsom comes correct in how we want this country run, and make sure that he is running for the people, unlike Wig, who is running for himself and corruption. So let's do it. Let's get behind Gavin. Let's get behind Gavin, and let's change this effing country and the trajectory it's going down. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll catch you on the next episode.